morning, so I'm starting the YouTube simulcast, and that should be done here in just a couple of seconds. I believe we're done. Okay, so this meeting is being live streamed, and welcome. I'm Harvey Ferdman, president of the Maryland Heights Township Democratic Club, and we also have Florence Pullen, president of the Creve Coeur Township Democratic Club. We hold joint meetings, although we have separate boards. And welcome to everyone this evening. And I'd like to ask Florence if she will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And Florence, if you would.
Certainly. Everybody, let's say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we typically do not hold our business meetings, so we'll move on to our speakers. And before we get to our keynote for the evening, there's an innovative new program going on to increase voter turnout. And I think it's great because we're not in election season, and it's a wonderful time to be putting that kind of work in and raising awareness of people and getting them involved, rather than when they're being bombarded with all the negative, crazy ads and all the nuttiness that goes on. So I'd like to introduce the co-founders of Claim Your Power Missouri, and that's Tiona McGraw. I hope I pronounced your name right, Tiona, and Helena Webb. And I'll give you guys permission to share the screens if you have presentation.
Okay. It's Tiana. I'll just say it's. Let me see. Let me know if you can see my screen when I share.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Thanks for having us. We'll keep it as short and sweet. I know we've got to get to the keynote speaker, so I'll just let Tiana kick it off.
Hey, everybody. It's great to join you all tonight. I see plenty of familiar faces. I see a face that I missed from the Jennings School District on here, Art McCoy. It is so great to see you. I'm Tiana McGaw-Beret, and me and Helena teamed up with this Claim Your Power campaign, basically because I was having a conversation with my sons, which are around the age, let's see, at that time they would have been 18, 21, and 28, and they're friends. And we were talking, and they were really excited about their stimulus check. And so I was trying to explain to them, because their friends was like, but they don't vote. And I was trying to explain to them, do you understand that, you know, you got the stimulus check because we had people in office in Washington, D.C., and what happened in Georgia, and about Stacey Abrams, and I got to talking about her as a Black woman and what she's done, and they were just like, what, you know, this and that. They couldn't understand it. And I was like, we got the power to do that here in Missouri if you and your friends, your peers would just get out and vote. So I was really upset about it. Then actually I see another familiar face on here. I end up talking with Deb Lavender. She actually called, and we talked about some things that she had went through as far as talking about Stacey Abrams. And from that, the rest is kind of history. I teamed up with Helena, and we came up with, you know, we're going to do something. You know, we can't just sit back and just let people really think that their vote don't matter or their vote don't count. So what is Claim Your Power? Claim Your Power is a democratic branding and voter engagement. The concept is to grow the Democratic brand, expand voter base, attract new Democratic voters, and encourage increased participation by low frequency voters.
Yeah, and we did a little research and found that about a third of Missouri residents do not vote for one reason or another. And that 44% of much of North County area, the part that we're focusing on, also does not vote. And many people are registered and do not vote. and some people are not registered. And of course, some people are coming of age. And so we think there's a lot of opportunity in densely populated areas that may lean Democratic. And one of my passions is not to advertise voting just in general, but to vote for Democrats and to try to expand people's understanding of what we are about and what we actually do for people.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we're really working heavily on saying the word Democrat, because I learned also when you get to these municipalities and some of the things, the term nonpartisan, a lot of people weren't really understanding what that meant. So we have, I come under the understanding that we have to just Democrat, kind of brand that name in people's heads. So we're trying to, this is basically kind of like ads, and this time of year you're going to see a lot of ads, right? Because it's Christmas time coming. So we're putting our ads on the channels to sell the Democratic brand. The voters are like our potential customers or our buyers or whatever the case may be. You buy in, that means people that haven't voted, they're going to get so used to seeing our ads that when it comes election time, you know what, I'm deciding I'm going to vote. It uses multi-channel marketing by digital display ads, digital video ads, digital audio ads, website, YouTube, social media, and community partners.
And we're going to share our ads because the best way to explain what we're doing is to show it. Can you see this? Let's see if this starts. Yep, here we go.
Your vote is your power to make a change. Claim your power and vote in every election. And when you vote, vote for Democrats, because Democrats fight for you.
We have Democrats to thank for important benefits like the stimulus check, child tax credit, and Medicaid expansion. It's time to claim your power and vote for a Democrat in every election.
Missouri voters have the power to change the future. Claim your power, register to vote, and vote for Democrats.
I think it shows power as an individual, that one person can really make a difference. There was a time where people like me couldn't vote. And so now that we can, I just want to take advantage of that and make sure that my voice is heard at every level possible so that I can even invoke the change that I want to see in the world one day.
I'm Terry Wilson, and I'm proud to be a Democrat because Democrats work for you.
So that's a sample of our ads. We have about 50 different pieces of collateral out right now. We're obviously focusing on a few themes right now of things that are current or happening this year. We hope there's more to talk about as the winter goes on. If people do click on our ads, it goes through to a website where people can either be forwarded, they can go to the Secretary of State office and register to vote, or download a voter registration form, learn about voting, learn about democratic values, and what Democrats do for them. And we're also right now organically putting these on Facebook. We will be purchasing ads on Facebook that will have a little bit of a broader reach. Right now, our targets are young people who may or may not be voting, regardless, and then also people who are registered to vote but did not vote in 2020, have not voted in a while. And so we're on social media. Please look at our page and share it. Tiana, you want me to keep going, Tiana? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think I just tried to put it in the chat, but if you want me to focus on this, can you drop it in the chat so people could click on it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll drop the.
Thank you. So what does it take? We have to raise money to keep this going. And as you can see, this is our work. We get, students and, just everyday people. What basically I've learned, and Helena's learned too, that, some people have like 5,000 followers on Facebook, so we're like, put your message out to the people that you know. So like Sarah, she has all these friends, and we're hoping that even if a person don't vote and they're young and they get to seeing these ads and they're popping up everywhere, that they're like, hey, we need to start voting. So basically, did you want to go back, Helena?
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm doing the chat and I got lost.
Okay.
Sorry.
But this is basically our budget, and we have to have,
Let me get out of this.
Donations to keep it going. So our ask today of this group is to, one, like our page on Facebook, which is Claim Your Power Mo, correct? Or is it just
claimyourpowermo.com?
Well, no, that's the website, but on Facebook, it's the
Claim Your Power Mo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so grab your cell phones and go to our Facebook page and like it right now, because we don't want you to forget. And she has dropped our links in the chat. No donation is too small. We're trying to really, really get the message out to people. So we've got on here, this is about what our ads cost, fall, winter, spring, summer. We're still trying to get through the fall, winter. So, we've been steady. We've been able to put a lot of content out, but we don't want it to stop. And we think that this will be, we're trying to form a relationship, because I can't tell you how many people that I heard, well, we only hear from politicians when they're running or that they're voting and count, things like that. So we're really, really geared towards, hey, we're going to make it normal that you're hearing the word Democrat and that you're, seeing other elected officials, other people. We're not just using ads, as you can see from elected officials. We're using everyday people, young people in our ads, just to get the message out to their peers. So here's our information. And like on the slide here, tell a friend or 10, I prefer 20, maybe 50 if you know that many people. Invite us to your events so we can talk to your group about what we're doing with Claim Your Power. Visit our website, and once you learn more about us, go and donate to the cause. Does anybody have any questions? You guys are too easy. We normally get questions.
Yeah, you gotta grill us. There's a few people on here.
You got a question, Art. What you want to ask us? I know you got something to say.
No?
I love your work. Great work.
Thank you. Okay, with that being said, we thank you for this time. And, Harvey, you've been great to us. We thank you for letting us bring our, slides here and talk to the group, because this is important. This is important to me because I'm around kids that well, thank you, Judith. I really, really appreciate it. Judith, it's been a long time. I just recognize the name. Oh my God. Okay, but I'm just really, really frustrated with my kids' peers that do not want to vote. This is the problem. This is why we're not winning when it comes to the statewide offices and all that, because, you know, these kids, they don't really understand it. So this is my way of putting in work to make sure anybody around me, no matter how old you are, you're going to understand that I want you to vote, and I want you to vote Democrat.
Yeah. And also thank you to the group. We will be reporting our results, and we're also going to be looking at hopefully voter registration trends and also voting trends by district, but also probably by precinct. We do have that data. And so we are, just so you know, we do get reports with lots of data in them from our vendor. And this shows so far that in the 2 weeks that we have launched, we had almost 74,000 impressions. So that means the ad appeared in front of people 74,000 times. There was some kind of interaction with the ads at about 2.65%, which is almost double, not quite double, but about 40% higher than the average ad. And our video ads are performing extremely well. So this means
Yes,
our
they are.
content is good and that people are responding to it, and they're not just trying to move on as fast as possible. So,
and we have surveys like for people when they go to the website that they, you know, we want to know. One thing my son gave us as far as advice is that you should ask people why they're not voting. Ask the question. So we are asking, do you vote? Well, if you don't vote, why don't you vote? You know, and we just want to know, and we're getting all that feedback. And I see in the chat, Jamie says she's donating. Thank you so much, Jamie. We can use all the help we can get. We get excited when we get a person on our presentations when they say they're donating. So that is very, very exciting for us, because we have to keep this going. And the only way that we can keep this going is by the help of good people like you that are willing to donate. So we really appreciate your time. Me and Helena, we spent countless times, you know, just all type of times in the middle of the night, sometime on the Zoom, just really trying to figure out, are we putting this message out correct? Are we saying what young people want to hear? Are we going to keep their attention? There's so much. Then we got this company that we're working at that gives us all this, you know, analytics that I don't understand, but luckily Helena is such a wizard when it comes to, so I just rely on her. You know, we complement each other well in working together. And we just decided we weren't successful in our campaigns, and that we weren't going to give up. It wasn't enough for us to just be sitting at home screaming at our television, or as in me screaming at my kids, that we were going to do something a little bit, you know, put a little more effort
Well,
into.
it's really terrific. It is really terrific. Thank you both so much.
Thank you
for the effort and for coming tonight. I do want to say for everyone, not only have I donated, but most folks know I've been involved in a number of campaigns. $24,000 that they're looking for a budget is really not a lot of investment for the community compared to what we're going to get in return. If you look at a state representative race, it takes anywhere from what, $100 to $150,000 to run a state rep race. This is a fraction of that, and I think we're going to, as political supporters, get a lot of bang for our buck from this group. So thank you, everyone, and I encourage you all to support this effort. What they didn't mention is that they're going to be reaching out to other areas, and what you saw tonight was an example of targeted advertising for a specific geographic area and a citizen profile, and they're doing the same thing in other areas around the state. This is just fantastic. So thank you again for your efforts. With that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Art McCoy. I'm not even sure where to begin, Dr. McCoy. Not only is all the stuff I read about you just extraordinary as an individual and for your accomplishments, but also a number of people who came on tonight, they just couldn't say enough. Good things. But I do want to, by way of introduction, read a little bit of background material about you as soon as I can get it queued up properly here. There's two quotes in here that I really, really like. Equity is meeting the needs at the speed of the need. I think that's amazing. Educating as if our life, legacy, and liberty depended on it, because they do. You, sir, are a nationally recognized educator and champion of children. And I just want to tell a little bit of a personal story before I read this. I, years ago, met with political scientists from UMSL who had been studying a lot of things that go on in terms of equal opportunities and repressed or whatever. And he gave me a real interesting example. He said, Harvey, if your daughter or son wanted to go to work in a law office, do you have someone you could call up and say, hey, can my kid do a summer internship and get a feel for it? And the answer was, well, yeah, sure. He said, well, who's going to do that for the kids in North County? I'm like, yeah, you're right. We need to fix that. We absolutely need to fix that. Well, this gentleman has fixed it. Or at least has a framework that is fixing it and working for a number of people, students. I think it goes beyond students from the reading that I've done. So let me read this quick story about one of the successes. Earlier this year, 2020 Jennings High School graduate Marcus Keys began working for St. Louis-based Doherty Business Solutions as an associate software engineer. This is right out of college, right out of high school. This gentleman got a $50,000 a year job, and it was all because StLWorks gave Keys a way to gain experience and enter the job market soon after high school graduation. Dr. McCoy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be with each and every one of you. I am just so thrilled when I see Imelda Harrison's face. I have to say, she gave me my first opportunity, and I was a student, and I guess I would say my junior year in high school, and then I learned about the program at Harris Stowe, and I just finished inroads at WashU. And then I got a call from Imelda Harrison's office, and she was like, we can give you a full ride, and you can have some money in your pocket as a Southwestern Bell Teacher Scholars. And that's what made the rest history. I got into that program under her tutelage and actually became one of her youngest graduates, and left at about a year and a half with a bachelor's degree after a year and a half of college. 25 credit hours a semester, because I spent the night at her house and in her office. So it's a pleasure to see her. It's a pleasure to see my great friend Karen Francis, who we've done a lot of work together and made things happen with elections and voter registration and just with kids, loving on kids in a variety of places. And then Tiana, my warrior, my Jennings warrior, just hearing her focus on students, it just refuels me, because you got it, girl. That's where it's at. We got to get these young people to realize their power, and we got to engage them. So I want to thank each and every one of you who's here tonight. I see so many faces, even more that I know, and just know that I love you, and it's a pleasure to be with you. And Harvey, thank you for reaching out to have me tonight. It's a pleasure to see your leadership and to just provide something to support. I put in the chat the links to the presentation, because I'll pull it up at times. I also put in there the link to an introduction about what StLWorks is. I won't play that video. I'll let you watch it on your own so you can see the faces of the CEOs and the senators and the mayor and the county executive that's all bought in really 2 years ago. And then I'm going to really give you some facts and some data, and we're going to have a conversation. I plan to talk to you for about 20 minutes, so I'll give myself a hard stop at 7:47, and so it's 7:27 right now. So the first thing I want to start off with is just the conversation without showing the slides. Conversation piece has to do with this. Have you ever seen a time like this before in your life? I mean, has there ever been a time where there's been so much change, so much volatility, so much abnormality, both politically, socially, health-wise, and beyond? If you have seen a change, text it, chat it, show me, say something, say sometime if you have, because I want to know the connections you are making with right now. And I have to say this, given my past, and I think many of you are like this, I think I was born for a moment like this, because many of us or creative veterans of suffering, in the words of Martin Luther King. He coined that term, creative veterans of suffering, for those people who actually had been marginalized, people who automatically had people stay 6 feet away from them out of fear of violence or fear of something's going to happen. People who automatically were subject to loss of jobs, loss of food, loss of activity. And so, in all of my conversations and speeches across the world, including Singapore, Dubai, the UK, Finland, I've been telling people, welcome home. I say welcome home because while so much of what's going on is unique, you can summarize even the pandemic up into one word, and that is systemic oppression to an extent. For the first time, a white male of privilege can say that they feel like they went from 21, free, white, and 21, on top of the world, to being like 91, where people are coming to your house delivering you food because you just don't want to go out, where people are not at work as often, or they are at work and they're working remotely from home because it's not safe to go out, or they can't use their money to travel. They can't use their money to do as many things as they wanted to because ultimately there's not as many things that you're free to do. Essentially, the loss of liberty to lengthen others' life is where we all are. While we were in the middle of that, many of us saw on TV George Floyd getting the life choked out of him, which was nothing new to some of us, to some of me and you who've seen that over and over and over again from the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, and back. And then, of course, even beyond in the 2000s with Eric Garner, who first said, "I can't breathe." And while many millions were reducing their liberty to lengthen life because of COVID-19, some people said, "I'm willing to lose my life to enlarge the liberties." And that's what led this protest during the George Floyd era to have more people on the street, more feet on the streets than the civil rights era. In the civil rights era, you had champions, many that I can't even just name, and the church was one of those champions, saying, let's do this for moral reasons. But during this pandemic, it was the combination of limiting our liberties to lengthen life and then seeing life choked out of someone. That statement, "I can't breathe," became a systemic symbol of, okay, the system is oppressing as well as people are, and therefore let's stomp out that oppression. And so I start off with that because that's just kind of where I lived up until this moment. As a person who, out of all the accolades you'll see, the ones that aren't shared is that I got married at age 17. And Melda knows this because when I came into her place, I was married. And that pushed me to say, I need to make sure that I have some money and earn for my family. And something that Sandra Murdoch and her husband, Dr. Murdoch, had been doing for a long time, like 40 years, mentoring Black youth in Jennings and in other places. They saw that if you could take a little Black boy or girl from Jennings early and get the right people around them and say that you can be a doctor and you could be a lawyer, then they turned out to be one. So that's kind of, I'm the fruits of their labor, in the sense that I had somebody reach out and say, hey, young Black male with two parents. I was blessed to have two parents, but they were both handicapped. My dad dropped out of school at Vashon. My mom was a proud graduate of Sumner, and she's someone who became legally blind after having me. It became clear that I needed to create a path for my life in order to earn and have a means to do better than even my parents. That generation, my parents are 88 years old, and that generation instilled in me that you must do better than the previous generation. You cannot do less than. We've been sent here so that you can stand on our shoulders to do more. And so, let me say, having crafted an education at Lafayette that allowed me to graduate from college in 1.5 years after high school, that was the template of me doing just what Harvey said, which is figuring out a way to make a school district be able to do that, not just for one kid that had a mentor, that had, the people like you online that said, hey, You got some skills, figure this out, let's make this happen. But to literally make it a part of the system that was ingrained. So let me put some facts behind this, some data behind this. The data points I want to share are simple. They're very simple. First, with our student population, I'm sharing my screen. I want to make sure that I don't have too much open. Straight from the student's voice and mouth, this poem was written by a young Black girl from the heart of the St. Louis city. She said, who can I turn to? I'm a person lost in the world. I don't know where to turn. I'm a girl wanting to achieve at anything I do. I want to be treated like I exist. I want to be seen, though, for more than the outer me. I want to be seen for the person placed inside of me. I feel like I'm all alone in the world. I feel like there's nowhere or no one to turn to, and I feel like it's the end of me. Sometimes I want to run away to a place where no one can hurt me. Sometimes I want to run away to a place where no one can hurt me. Sometimes I feel like life will never go right. Much as I try, it just never goes right. So what should I do if the problems I face won't come up from this deep, dark place even inside of me? Who can I turn to if I can't even turn to the people who gave life to me? Who can I turn to? So like Harvey said, there are millions of youth, and there are thousands of them in St. Louis and beyond that feel this same way. When Samantha said this to me, I didn't know that her mother was mentally handicapped and was not able to take care of herself. I did not know her dad left years ago and she was still in contact with him but didn't see him. All I knew is that there was a young girl pleading for some hope to stay alive, even when it felt like the end of her. And so, just like was done with me, I said, hey, you are never alone ever again. I'm your educational father. Here's my cell phone for the rest of your life. You can call me and you will always have my number. And she went from this place to being empowered. I said, millions need to hear your voice. Within 2 months, we will put this in a book with other people. The proof of the action of that is right there. Her writing turned into a poem along with 150 others from St. Louis City, the north side of the city, saying, who am I, where am I going, and what do I need? Because equity is meeting needs at the speed of the need. They put it in writing what they needed, who they thought they were, and where they wanted to go to be more than who they were. And ultimately, got money for writing this book because every proceed from it went to their college. Samantha went to SLU on a full ride. She ended up becoming a criminal justice major, and she now has her own business and works with the police for helping other people just like her, bridging gaps of the heart, head, and the hand for safety, for success, and for liberation, liberty, essentially, which is where we started. The issue is we need a system, a systematic approach that can address this issue. Because this is the data. 3 words. There's a lot of work to be done. There is a workforce, and it's changing, and there is a workplace, and it's changing. So the work is the stuff that you do, the force is the who, and the place is the where. I'm going to start with the last data point because it's the most startling for St. Louis. MSL stands for Metropolitan St. Louis Area. Out of our entire workforce, only 7.4% are made up of 14 to 21-year-olds in the St. Louis metropolitan area. And 25% are 55-year-olds and older. Why is that an issue? That's an issue because the national data is right here. July 2021, according to the Department of Labor, 54.4% of 16 to 24-year-olds were employed, and they make up about 28% of the workforce. And it was more during the pandemic. It was an increase up from 47% in the heart of the pandemic, a little bit down from before there was a recent pandemic, which was 56%. So why is it that St. Louis has about a third of what the national amount of youth that are in the workforce actually make up? So those people with more liberty and power and money that can 55 and plus that says, I got a savings account, I have experience, I have options. They can say, I'm out. I'm going to resign, retire, or work from home or work remotely. Whereas during the pandemic, only 1 out of 4 Blacks could work remotely, and only 1 out of 5 Latinos had the power to say, yeah, I'm going to convert my existing job into full-time remote. And then the 14 to 21-year-olds only made up 7.4% of our workforce. We need to get them in the game. And frankly, educators should see this as a part of what the purpose of education is. Purpose of education is 3 things. It's character development. Secondly, it is for citizenship, teaching them how to be an educated electorate, not be duped by people who are not for them, do not look like them or represent them, even if they do look like you or don't. Citizenship. And then lastly is careers. Here's a challenge. Ask your if you have children in school, ask your principal or superintendent, what is the purpose of education? I promise you that 95% of them will give you a long sentence, more than those 3 words, that says, to maybe their mission statement, to prepare citizens for a global future and be some type of self-ready learner that does something in a global competitive society. Just gobbledygook that someone wrote in a book that sounds nice that was developed by a committee. 3 words: character, citizenship, and its careers. Thanks to my great education from places like with Miss Harris and others, I know that it's character development because of the Deluder Satan Act from 1648. That was the first rule that made the public schools. Get Satan out of people. And the Puritans beat the hell out of people. I mean, they literally took a switch and started beating you. but it's the catechism, teaching people the Catholic principles of character through the catechism. That was the first of public schools. And we call it character education now, but it goes beyond that. Secondly, it's an educated electorate because we need a general population that won't be duped like too many people are, which is why those beautiful videos and those candidates that were just shown by Tiana and all of that is needed. But do students understand how to create a platform, how to run for office, how power works? That if you don't see what you want, then you can be what you want to see in the pool of candidates. To go reach out to someone who's running and ask them to mentor you so that you can eventually run too, but do it your way and do it better. That's the process, the purpose of public schooling. And then lastly, careers by virtue of the apprenticeship. Schools still start in August or September and it ends by May because of careers, the agricultural career of needing students in the fields to get the harvest because school was subject to apprenticeship. So knowing that, I had no problem educating my boards and talking to my community about this as a superintendent of saying, hey, I make you a promise. We're going to transform our schools so that every kid by graduation is guaranteed a paid internship or free college that gets them a living wage job. So that's what StLWorks aims to do, is the T in our stars, transforming pre-K through 16 so that you can include from middle school and even elementary school career academies, apprenticeships, and mentors in the industries to help them get the skills, the transformation. The S in stars for StLWorks stars is supporting 1,000 new jobs, entrepreneurs, and employment for individuals who wouldn't have got it from grades 10 at least up, that age range of 15, 16, workers permit. And in areas that don't require a bachelor's degree. The A is assembling and allowing access to people as well as to people to be your life coaches, but also to the data and to the job opportunities, regionally as well as beyond. The R is a real commitment that we've asked businesses to make, to recruit from home and grow your own. So Boeing does this worldwide, is doing this more. MasterCard has $500 million solidarity fund to do this more, and that is to look for our freshmen, give them an adult mentor, and then begin to teach them the soft skills and the hard skills. I call it power skills. The soft skills are not soft, they're power skills. Give them the power, teach them the power on what their cultural climate demands. Show up early, dress correctly, speak standard English, and then also the technical skills. And then eventually give them a scholarship or an internship to work 16, 17, 18 on your campus. So that's reconstructing recruitment. And then lastly, showing the data. All right, so given my 4 minutes, because we'll do some Q&A afterwards, here are the power skills that 100 businesses in the Regional Business Council has worked with me with their HR people and their CEOs to say that they want in construction, manufacturing, healthcare, and technology. They listed them. Some overlap, like standard English is the bar, communicate well, be able to write an email, know how to start it and finish it and create a subject line, and don't always reply to all. These are the number one reasons for people getting fired. So you get hired from your technical skills, but you get fired from your lack of power skills. So I call them power skills because it gives you the power to get the job, keep the job, and get a promotion. Organization and construction, because you got a lot of tools and equipment, you can kill yourself. Cooperation in healthcare and manufacturing and in technology, because you're working as a team to solve problems that one person cannot clearly solve. It takes a team to prevent cybersecurity threat and penetration and issues of fraud and more in technology. In healthcare, it takes a team. And in red, here are the things that were not always consistent above the board for all of them, but they were strong enough to include work ethic. Work ethic was the number one issue that employers said that they lacked, which goes back to the purpose of education being character. Doing what's right when no one else is looking, integrity, empathy, curiosity, resilience. When you don't get your way, show up anyway. Work hard anyway. A lot of these things are natural to you because that's what your generation does or your family does. A lot of these things are foreign to so many children. So in the acronym of STARS, I've been writing articles in the St. Louis American to showcase people like Miss Carter, who is making $60,000 now, does not have a college degree, went through a training, and she became a builder of planes at Boeing after the Earn and Learn program at St. Louis Community College, the pre-employment program at Boeing. Marcus Keys, who Harvey mentioned, was a graduate of 2020 during the pandemic, and he ultimately did an app while he was in school thanks to his work with Worldwide Technology. And then he ended up going through the training program for 3 months and got hired at Cigna, and he's being paid $50,000 a year to be a technology specialist at Cigna in healthcare. There are more sites and media outlets of stories to confirm it. If you click on these tabs, this would be Donnybrook here, this would be the NPR here, and I left out the link to you may see the link of the Post of St. Louis there if you click on that. But ultimately, here's the point. There are so many jobs. 43% of the jobs don't require a bachelor's degree. And ultimately, about 73% of our jobs require some skill. 73% of our jobs in the St. Louis region require some skills, but not an associate's degree. So in the metropolitan St. Louis area, in technology, here's the average earning, the mean wages, and the percentage of our workforce that we can get in that are between the ages of 18 and 21 without college. And these are the skills that they need that are the hard skills, and you saw the power skills. So we're training them in Java, Agile, CQL, Microsoft. And these things should be standard in 10th grade and 11th grade, which they are in Jennings, and they are becoming in St. Louis Public, the Earn and Learn program. And even in U City and in the other districts, we're working with 13 districts. We have about 40 businesses that are manufacturing. That makes up 8% of our region. They are great for people who've gone to jail because they will hire you with a criminal record as long as you have shown and have a reference shown that you've been recidivized or have character and that you have work ethic. That's a huge demand. A lot of the breakdown, it shows that there's some training that's needed, but over 50% of the jobs require you just to have high school background, and they can train you, and they will train you for the rest. Tons of companies for that. Ultimately, I have a team that's going into schools, and they're making young people aware of this as early as elementary school and middle school. And by high school, they're exposing them to it by having professionals do a guest speaking series at their schools, but also having them then, those that are interested and have the power skills, the ethics, the character, to then go to the work site and do a site visit, half day, full day, or multiple days for a micro internship, a week long or even a semester long. And then after that phase, real experience and action is the rest. Students, young people, as well as people that are older than 21 are getting paid apprenticeships at $15 to $25 an hour, and then they're getting full-time jobs that are paying them $25 an hour and more after successfully completing that apprenticeship or that test period for 3 months. So ultimately, we have 100 businesses that have committed to this. We have about 30 nonprofits that we are getting people from, like the Urban League, Save Our Sons, Save Our Sisters, Wrong for Women, Better Family Support System, BLF, the Family Father Support, Better Family Life, BLF, and then ultimately the school districts. That makes up our plan. I'll end by saying, this is no fluff stuff. I had to just show you a snapshot picture, and if you click on this link, you will see about 30 of my 5th graders and 4th graders from Jennings from 3 years ago that were at MasterCard, learning from MasterCard employees how to do algorithms. These young people right now they were 3 years ago in 5th grade. They learned Python by 8th grade, which can get you paid a $50,000 job. And then by 11th grade, they were doing Java like Marcus Keys, which then allows you to literally be picked up in moments to get a job like we described. See how easier it becomes if you really start as early as 5th grade with having those kids be at MasterCard. That's a MasterCard wall in the back. You can see it. And literally learning, making relationships, seeing mentors. And if you can't do coding at that young age, then you can do some service learning. You can do some helping in the community. You could do some cleanups, some street pickups, and more. These are young people and their teachers helping at a grocery store, actually creating a grocery store in their school to actually give to these individuals that are in this line. And they did it during the pandemic too. And this young man was the store manager. And then Fresh Time Food said, we like you so much, you can come on up to our store. And he's making a good $48,000 a year straight out of high school. And this young man was at our alternative school for actually doing something, having too much marijuana on him. But his life was transformed. And you click on this link, and you'll see him introducing this store that he opened. And it was the apprenticeship that led him to the Fresh Time Food actual job. Ellie Warren, another great story, a situation of a young lady who's in healthcare. But ultimately, we had 100% graduation and career college placements for our 3,000 students district-wide. They went to our high school, and 700 of them got either paid internship or free college or both while in high school and right out of it. So if you can do it in this system, it could be done in the city. Since leaving Jennings, I've been working with Kelvin Adams, and the city of St. Louis has adopted this model, and they have rolled out their Earn and Learn program this year for the first time. And they are attempting to do this for 600 of their 1,500 seniors. What is this? They're attempting to get 600 of them in an internship before or right after graduation and give them the power skills while in school. And then the other part will be college bound. And then, of course, other school districts are following suit. All right, I'll stop. My time, I've gone beyond my own time. I'll stop, and I want to take any questions or comments and yield the floor to anybody to just have any remarks that you wish to make. And definitely, I look forward to collaborating with you as much as needed. My email is inside that link of the PowerPoint. And I just thank you for having me with you. And it is a pleasure to serve our community in this way. So I'll pause for questions or comments.
Well, there was one question that came up in the chat, so we'll do that one first. And that was, can any student in the St. Louis area participate?
Yes, yes. This is for anyone in the St. Louis area, as well as even St. Charles County and Illinois, East St. Louis. It's the greater metropolitan area. And we have 13 districts that are partnering with us, all the way from Rockwood to the city of St. Louis, and then across the river, a few as well. So yes, anyone can participate.
Okay, and I'm going to call on Alan, if you would help me see if anyone's raising their hands.
Sure.
Anyone have any questions? You can either speak up or raise your hand.
Sandra? If you'll unmute yourself too.
Hi, Dr. McCoy. Thanks for the shout out. I have a question. What I have happened with some of the young people that go into these programs, they're pushed into programs where they don't really fit. I like for young people to go into something they really like, not just to go make a job and make money. I want you to go into something that you really like and that really fits you. And you may not be fit for a healthcare job or a construction job. How do you work on that part of the issue with young people?
Great question. If my bandwidth was better, I would show you. So let me attempt to. The short answer is, so I'm typing www.StLWorks. It needs an S at the end and nothing else after that. The very first thing we do when we go to the schools or when they go to our site, we have about 5,000 every month on our site, is once the page comes up, there is a survey that takes 5 minutes and it's called Find Your Path. You can see it at the top area. And the second thing it says is Find Your Mentor, so that we can map people with a life coach. When you click on Find Your Path, it gives you an interest survey that helps to narrow down based off of what you think you're good at and what you think you're not good at and what you don't like and what you do like. And it says to you, based off of these things, you should try this field. And so we start off with this Find Your Path 5-minute assessment. Then after that, we try to match them with a mentor in that field based off of their assessment so that they can make a relationship. Last thing we do is we let them change, because even if they did the interest inventory in the survey, sometimes they thought that they like to, be on the computer all day, but they really want to be outside. And so allowing the flexibility to shift and do more than one track is important. So we first do the survey, interest inventory. We then align them with the mentor, and then we allow them to change. We ask them after 1 month or even after 1 week. So in our technology training, we had 30 young people who were pushed into technology, who said they wanted it. They did the survey and so forth. Out of them, about 5 of them, after having to really get down to business, they didn't like how hard it was to literally learn Java. That was when we were like, okay, we got them a mentor that said, okay, this person is more acclimated to maybe building computers because they still want to do computer, or maybe drawing, so animation. Let's try an animation company instead of a coding company. And that kind of came out of the mentorship when the person had enough relationship to say, yeah, I did say I like math, I did like technology, I like computers, but I really like drawing. This isn't fun to me. The adults had to realize that some of these people are still kids. Even if they're 21 or 20, they're still kids. They're still learning who they are. And so having the flexibility for them to shift and meet other people that meet their needs is so important. And I have to be honest with you, that's a mind shift for HR departments of major companies. They're like, if I paid for you and hired you and did this, you better do what I tell you, or otherwise I'm going to just find somebody else. The shift is, no, this is a long-term investment in relationship. So that if you get them in the right seat in the bus, the dividends will be humongous in comparison to just another person to do a job. So you hit on a great point, and I have to do seminars all over the place with Fortune 500 company HR specialists on this very topic. That if you want diversity, you want inclusion, then you need to provide equity, which is hearing them and have humility, and then try to meet their needs as you hear it. Don't just kick them out the door. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Karen, yes, go ahead.
Hi, Art, how long has this program been in existence? And what is the age range of the young people that you're willing to work with?
Great question. StLWorks started in 2019, August
It's new.
10th to be exact. And I was the MC and educator behind it when it started. And there was Vic Ritchie, Elena Marcia from MTM, Vic Ritchie from ESCO Technologies, Peric's president, and a few others, BJC's vice president and others, and Kathy Osborne, of course, who is the spearheader behind it. We are working with work-ready age kids. So mostly 16-year-olds up to 66-year-olds. So work-ready age people. But part of our secret sauce is pushing down even below to middle school to get them aware of the jobs and kind of hearing guest speakers and building relationships. So the jobs are for 16-year-olds to 66-year-olds, but the guest speakers are for middle schoolers and even younger than that to get them exposed. Because some fields, you got to start early. Like if you want to be a physician, you need to start in elementary school with loving biology and so forth, and meeting a nurse, having an understanding. So we have the mini medical school where little third graders are just taking the Hippocratic oath. Because if you really want to be a physician, you're going to have to start that long with the vocabulary and all that stuff. So yeah. And then BJC has promised to pay for their educations as the BJC scholars, give them apprenticeships and internships. You know, let me tell you, during the pandemic, 40% of nurses that were in their first year of nursing in 2020 resigned. They quit. They said, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. 40% at one company that I'm on the board of, that's the largest employer for nurses in Missouri, said, I'm out in year one. So that's so important that we recruit people and that we show them the job before they do it, because then you'll get less turnover. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. It started in 2019. We're wanting work-ready age people, 6 to 66, but we're pushing a little bit younger for those harder, heavier, higher-hanging fruit jobs.
So Art, one follow-up, where do districts allow you to meet with students and or faculty about this program because of curriculum and what has to be taught?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm using my superintendent emeritus status for the power to push people to do that. You know, because I still have every superintendent's cell phone, and they'll open access to say, okay, yeah, we got to take 10 hours to do this. We got to take 3 days for this job site. But typically, that was the genius of Kathy Osborne. She was like, only an insider will get the access to really do justice to this, because otherwise schools will say, we're too busy working on this map test, the testing, or this and that. And so you're exactly right. But the principals are making a way. And here's the truth of the matter. During the pandemic, so many young people were working like Amazon or driving Uber Eats and doing like part-time work that they got a little taste of money. They didn't want to come back to high school. And so even Rockwood lost 10% of their students. Parkway lost 5% due to homeschooling and issues of wearing a mask and not wearing a mask. And in the city, like 15% said, I'm earning good money for my family. So I told these superintendents, you're a fool if you don't give school students high school credit for working. So if they're working at McDonald's, put them in a Pro-Start certification class for culinary science and give them that instead of home ec. They got a Pro-Start certification and give them their high school diploma through work-based learning. COE was what it was called when some of us was in school, cooperative technical education. Or there was the tech schools, North County Tech, North City Tech, North Tech. That is what we are bringing back, but not just for one school like North County Tech or North Tech, O'Fallon Tech. We're making that a pathway in every school, and that requires time, to your point. And so I'm teaching the principals and superintendents how to build time in their master schedule so that kids can earn and learn and earn high school and college credit for it. There was a great question in the chat from Tiana that I'm going to read it. It says, is there any field for gaming all these kids love Xboxes and PlayStations. How are you getting the word out about this great program? I have boys who walked out of MSB, McClure South Berkeley. I love the Bulldogs because of you, Art. It made me know more, want to know more about you and learn more about it. So I love MSB. I would spend a lot of time there. So let me answer that very succinctly. Yes, there's a gaming program. I have a relationship with David Stewart Jr., who's the CEO of Lion Forge. He has interns that are high schoolers that he actually is paying to do animation, drafting. They have contracts with Nickelodeon. They have contracts with gaming institutions, and they draw the characters and they make up the characters. If you saw the short movie called Hair Love, which was a short film about a girl's black hair, that's Lion Forge. They created that. And that idea came from high school kids, to be honest, or from young people. And so they've been dedicating 5 staff members, Paul Reed, and many others I could name, David Gordon, to literally go to high school and teach kids how to draw so that it can become video games kind of characters and comic book characters and animation characters. And then the best drawers end up getting full-time jobs, essentially. And the ones that got some potential but aren't the best, they get the short-term summer internships, and they keep working with their art teachers. And then just MSB in general, you know, Berkeley I love Berkeley because they're some of the most real people that I've seen. That school was so special to me because, to be honest with you, Jennings was the only other place where I saw kids that were just as real, raw, and honest and ready and hungry as I did at Berkeley. But at the same time, sometimes not seen or starved. And so, like Harvey said, kids with potential, but without the path or without the person. And so, you know, I went into Berkeley Senior High School as a 33-year-old superintendent of Ferguson Florissant, and I literally took off my coat in the center of the gym in front of the whole student body with an all-school assembly. I took off my belt. I took off my shoes. And the whole student body's like, whoa, Dr. McCoy, what are you doing? Are you stripping? And I said, no, I'm just doing what we have to do in the airport to get on a plane. But you thought I was stripping. I said, this is the difference between being enlightened and being educated. If you don't act educated and enlightened, then people will make you look like you have to strip down just to get to where you want to go. So let's put what we need in here so that we don't have to get virtually naked outside here. And that was my introduction to MSC. From that point on, the students were like, this cat right here, he's crazy. We like him. And so definitely, much love to Berkeley. That's my Berkeley story. We are willing to take anyone. Just contact me or go to StLWorks on the website. And then when you contact us, my assistant, LaVonda Cotton or Tina Haberberger, will get the email and they'll forward it to me as well. And we will connect them with what they need because we're trying to meet the need at the speed of the need. That's all I got. Harvey, thank you for the time. Thank you, everybody. It's great to see you all.
Thank you so much, Art, for being on here tonight. Yeah, I wanted just to, let everybody know, because I don't know if they have children like me, but that really, your following is great when it comes to the young people. I was very impressed. And I heard the story, like my oldest actually walked out, and now not only did he go on and he was working for Boeing, but he's thinking about leaving Boeing because he wants to now be a patent attorney, because only 3% of African Americans are patent attorneys. And so you have had a very powerful impact just crossing through his life. So there's other kids that need to make sure they, cross your path, because I got a personal story that it really, really worked out for my kid to see what you went through, see all that you went through with the Ferguson Florissant School District and all that. So, I just want to say thank you for giving as a single mother, for giving my kids a little piece, so they can be doing good. I appreciate you.
Much love to you. Much love to you. Hey, that's what it's all about. You know what? And I wouldn't trade those days for anything. Whenever you see somebody fighting to try to stop something serious is going on. And, my parents raised me to know that you got to be ready at any time to stand for what's right against all odds. and be able to sleep well because of what you did. That makes it worth it all. And so, I know a lot of young people saw that, and then it gives them the courage to sacrifice a little bit more, because that's what people who are greater than us did before we got here. You guys sacrificed so that we could be here. And so it's an honor to just kind of be one of the numbers. That's why I say, hey, welcome home. Creative veterans of Suffolk. But yes, thank you so much. Appreciate every one of you. Reach out.
Thank you so much. We have another question.
I do.
Lord.
Can I go?
Yeah,
Okay. I was an elementary school counselor, and one of my favorite lessons to teach was about careers. Of course, I started with kindergarten on up, but also one of my big things as far as students in high school, I really wish that every high school would have someone assigned to getting the seniors registered to vote before they walk out of there. Does anybody know if some of the high schools have a person who is assigned to do that? Because we need the career training, but we also need them to be registered to vote. It should be automatic in our nation, but it's not.
It should be. That's a great point. I can't say that every high school has it. I just know that every district that I've been the leader of has had it. We did the kids vote method with UMSL, and UMSL had elementary kids through high school kids doing mock voting of not only the national people, but also the local people, like the mayors and so forth, so that they can go through that process and then go home and tell their parents, hey, from what my teacher taught me, I want to vote for this person, just or whatever, from class. And then that motivated more parents to get out to vote when their kid came home talking about voting. So we partnered with UMSL with the kids vote process, but then we partnered with the Women's Voting League to literally have 5 of them come and train our coolest high school seniors and juniors. And then the high school seniors and juniors were given lunchtime, all the lunchtimes out of class to go sign up people and to share with people to vote. And so we had one kid register 2,000 people in Jennings to vote. One 12th grader, because he was that cool and had that big of a following, and the youth did what they told him. But that's the strategy. And then they got paid too to be on the election day. They were election site workers, but they were paid a little internship to learn about how to be election site workers and how to work the polls on the day and so forth. So when I say educated citizenry was a part of what education was for, we work with the Women League of Voters to literally make that like a class for that at least 200 of our kids went through at the junior level, and then they went back to elementary and middle school and helped them do mock voting as well. So that's a very good point. We got to get back to them. We got to help educate principals and counselors to let them know that that's what this taxpayer dollar is for, is to teach people the system and understand how to be educated citizenry. So thank you for that point.
This is Florence Pullen.
Oh, go ahead, Florence.
This is Florence Pullen. Dr. McCord, I didn't join the list. I didn't join the list of people who were instrumental in your life, but I did hear about you. I was a retired teacher, am a retired teacher from Ferguson, Florissant, and I got a chance to see you when you were an assistant superintendent. This was really I retired about 28 years ago, so it's been a long time for me. Anyway, I'm very impressed with the work. I'm very impressed with the work that you're doing, and I hope you continue. But I have one question. If these students go into the activities or professions that you're mentioning, what happens if these become, I won't say deleted or whatever in the long run? How do those people will fit back into society? Will they be looking for new jobs or trying to continue education or something along the line if they didn't get it for your college?
That's a great question. That's a really great question. So first, I want to thank you, Ms. Pullen, for your contributions and your time, and especially Ferguson Florissant, which is a historic district. We can go back in time. There are many great people like you that I stand on the shoulders of, and I know you know John Wright and others that you guys made it possible for me to be there at the a young age that I was there. And Savannah Young was with me and so forth. So thank you so much. God bless you. The short answer is, in our power skills training, we're teaching the kids how to get a job, keep a job, and get a promotion. And we're training them that you're a lifelong learner, that you don't have to have a bachelor's or associate's degree to be a lifelong learner. You just have to continue to get industry recognized credentials. And that's a technical term in business. Every industry has recognized credentials. And so to your point, businesses are always growing and retooling, and they always come out with a new credential that shows evidence of that. So we're teaching them in the power skills to watch those credentials and to continue to get those credentials, which are usually 3-month training, 2-month training credentials, sometimes 6-month training credentials. Perfect example in technology. They would say, get JavaScript training. Well, now you don't need JavaScript. Now you need Java or CQL, and there's a whole list, and those are different credentials. And then all of a sudden, people started stealing people's data, fraud and cybersecurity fraud and identity theft. So then you added another certificate called Cybersecurity Security Plus, CompTIA A+. And those are like security credentials. And so we're telling these young people, continue to listen and get more micro credentialing. That will be worth just as much, if not more, than this bachelor's degree. And to be honest with you, in technology, moves so fast that the people who are making the degrees, their stuff is 5 years old. It's those credentials that's fresh right now in technology. So even the college students have to literally do the same thing we're telling these non-college kids, and that is get the credential. You can go straight to the credential in technology because it moves so fast. The AT&T CEO was so honest. He told all of his employees just what you said. He said, if you're not in AT&T University getting a credential, I can promise you in 2 years, I'm firing you. 2 years, you're gone. Because you won't be able to keep up with how fast our infrastructure is if you're not getting these credentials. And so to your point, instead of doing a 4-year degree, stay in those college, or I'm sorry, those company universities, the company credentialing programs. My last point is these employers have promised to pay for the training and or for college for the students. So just because they don't have college coming in doesn't mean that they won't get college going out. MasterCard, Worldwide Technology, BJC, Target even, and Walmart. They all have like $100 million pots of money, or $50 million pots, or foundations to give scholarships to the students to have their colleges paid for. And so we're telling them to enroll at Harris Stowe, St. Louis Community College, and UMSU if they've already got an associate's degree or the beginning foundations to further their education, but not on their tab, on the company's tab, so they can stay debt free. So that's some of the secret stuff that we're talking to them about in our power skills training. You got power if you use their money to get more education, to get a better job. And that's our power skills training. Great question.
Karen,
you guys are a great group. Harvey, you got a monster team here. Some of the best questions and comments from you all. Outstanding.
Well, you're doing yeoman's work, and it's appreciated. Any other questions? Dr. McCoy, thanks again, and best of luck. And I guess if anyone online here knows any major employers that would want to join in your program, they should probably get in touch. Is there anything else
please,
that we can? Anything else?
No, we welcome you. Definitely. If you're on Facebook, feel free to comment on any of the articles you see, or send a shout out, or when we send stuff out. That's one thing. Just check out StLWorks. If you have employers that need people, feel free to contact us. And most importantly, if you have young people or educators who need support, then just let us know, because I have a team that can help support with guest speakers, mentors, and internships, scholarships, and more. But thank you all. Keep me in your prayers, most importantly. Keep praying for me that God give me strength, courage, and wisdom. That's it. Strength, courage, and wisdom, so we can keep navigating these waters and make a bigger difference.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone? Thank you. Does anyone have any?
Yes, I do have, Harvey. This is Florence. Our next meeting is going to be November 15th. And due to the current activity that's going on in the St. Louis area, especially the killing of the young people who was the young lady that was killed the other night was the granddaughter of a dear friend of mine out here, Brenda Marr. And I just think we need to do something on gun violence again, so that we could bring the community together, so that we can address these issues that are coming up. So we're going to look in terms of gun violence at our next meeting, hopefully. Harvey, that's what we'll be looking for, okay?
Excellent, thank you.
Florence, I just heard today in a different meeting, based on 2018 data, that Missouri ranks #2 in the country of men killing women.
I believe it.
I do too, but we are second in the country of men killing women.
Well, we know that it is something that needs to be looked into. So we're going to try to get speakers along that line to come in and talk with us, and also bring some hope to our community. So that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you. I also have just a brief announcement. As many of you know, I'm on the House Redistricting Commission. The House and the Senate are both meeting tomorrow. You would have received an email from the Maryland Heights Township Democratic Club with links if you want to watch live. Otherwise, somewhere on the state's website, they are posting the recordings of these meetings. They are interesting. I do suggest at least checking out at least one of them to get a feeling for what kinds of concerns the citizens have that are testifying. Anyone can have their 5 minutes or so of testimony, and we're getting a lot of individuals and organizations ranging everywhere from we need to move the district line 1 street over so that we're not busting up this neighborhood, to something I was never aware of. There's in a lot of the rural districts, there's a lot of concerns about having too many representatives of a school. I need to say this properly. They have school districts that span too many districts, too many legislative districts. So there is no one legislator who has a vested interest in standing up for the schools. So that's a real interesting one. That's a new one for me. I'm used to cities, right? We have the density where you have multiple legislators standing up for a school district. They have the exact opposite problem. They don't have enough density in one district for it to really carry a lot of weight with the legislators. So there's a lot of interesting things that you can learn, and input is welcome. You can submit testimony online without appearing in person, without appearing at these things. However, in mid-November, once we're done with the public hearings, then they're going to close down the website and not accept any more testimony. But if you want to submit written testimony to the website without showing up at one of these meetings, you can do that. Anyway, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to reach me directly. I think that concludes our meeting. Does anyone else have any comments, announcements, anything? Okay, that said, thank you very much, everybody. Looking forward to next month when I don't know if you know how these meetings work. Florence and I are the two clubs, the Creve Coeur Club and the Maryland Heights Club. We take turns on driving the speaker selection, and frequently we also collaborate. I think we have a great topic for next month. So see you then.
Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. God bless you.